Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Bonkekook here, aka the Lonely Achievement God, and we are continuing with part 4 of our Luigi's Mansion 3 playthrough. I do have to apologize. I had about 20 minutes, give or take, or so recorded, and the recording cut out initially. So I do a quick little recap where I run to the places where I did things and just show you what I did. Real quickly before we get into the action here. And then another thing is I have a couple of controller issues during this run where my left Joy-Con just disconnects and reconnects in the middle of some gameplay. I feel like something fishy was going on there because I had a couple of moments where I was trying to turn and I wasn't. There was a point where a bunch of golden mice appeared and I wasn't able to attack them because my controller disconnected. So hopefully that's just a one-off thing and won't keep happening, but if it does, I may have to postpone further recordings until I can either get my controller fixed or get a pro controller of some sort. But just wanted to drop those quick points before we hop in here. I'm going to go ahead. This is going to be a little bit shorter than the other ones. Maybe I'm just getting better at the game, of course. Or maybe there would have been a little bit more story exposition after the point where I cut off. To this point, every time we've sucked up one of the major ghosts, we've gone back to Egad, and this time he didn't have me do that. Once we finish the floor we start on here. As you've noticed, I've been trying to stick a recording to each section of the game, so whenever we've finished a big boss, we've gone back, talked to Egad, and I finish the clip. This time we finish a floor, and we end up being told to move on to the next floor, and that's when I stop it. So that's why it's a little bit shorter. Maybe some extra things happen on that next floor, and then you go back to Egad, but I want to try to keep it consistent and keep the parts of the videos relatively straightforward so you know what to expect when you hop in. So, sorry about the long intro. We're going to go ahead and start the footage here, and again, I am talking over pre-recorded footage. And I just wanted to get those few things cleared out of the way there. I did play, I think it was about 15 to 20 minutes and wound up losing the recording. So I wound up exploring quite a bit. We're not going to retrace all of my steps. I am just going to show you the things that I found while I was exploring, which were mostly gems. I went back now that we have the Luigi. Now that we have Luigi, there were a couple of greats I remembered seeing at the beginning of the game that I run back to check. So we were up on the 5th floor when I lost my recording because I was backtracking, although I don't think there's anything up there with Luigi. I could be wrong. Maybe we'll go back there later, but we're going to head down all the way to the basement. And I'm going to show you the laundry room because we have the suction cup attack. And I was able to get that gem that was hidden in the dryer or washer. I don't know which one it is. Probably the dryer. Yeah. And then, of course, because I'm switching between Xbox and GameCube. Sorry, I was around when that was a big controversy. But because I keep switching from my Xbox to my Switch here, I do have a couple of control issues early on where I press the wrong buttons until I get reacclimated to the Switch controller. Because then once I'm done recording, I go back to the Xbox controller and have to relearn all of that. It's really confusing. I wish they would... In some ways, I wish they would just make a universal controller and console and all that. I understand that competition is good for them, and it's, in theory, good for us too, but every controller has a different button layout, so if you want to play all three, it can be a bit confusing. We run up to the top here. I remember the grate and the gem underneath the stairs with a spider. I remember pointing this one out when we initially came up those stairs. And then I actually explored up the stairs here through the door, I didn't really find anything, so we're not going to retrace our steps over there. But there was a rug that we played with when we first came over here, and there was a grate there, so I run over and roll back the carpet and discover the grate. And then you just run to the end of this path and do your little blast attack thing, whatever it is. And that exposes a third gem. So of course I already got those, so we're not going to run over and grab them. I just wanted to show them off to you on the off chance you are following along with me in your own playthrough. But we're going to go ahead now and continue back up to, I believe we were on the 3rd floor. Yeah, the shops. And then I got a little bit of this done as well, so we'll go over what I've done on this floor already. So the shops are all to the left there, and you can see there's a lock if you squint. It's kind of dark, but there is a lock there. So we can't get through until we find a key, and the only place we can go up here is to the right. I was making sure there weren't any plants I could suck up. I am nothing if not consistent. Also, I thought that painting looked like one of the ones you could use the dark light on, but it appears it is not. So, female bathroom is closed off, but we do have the male bathroom that we can enter. And I wandered around this for a little bit. I'm not going to make it sound like I figured this out right off the bat, but there's a little panel you can open up and then use Luigi to go through. And if you come over here, one of the toilets is overflowing. You have to figure out how to open that up, and there's obviously a vent that you can use, but you can't get into this one. And as you see, I fall in, and there was a... Sorry, I'm going to stop the footage here because I didn't do a very good job explaining here what we discovered. So there's the mirror over the sink there, and it shows you a grate in the floor, but on your side of the mirror, the grate isn't there. You just need to use your dark light, and it will open up and expose that grate. Then you can drop in down below with Luigi. There were a ton of spiders or mice, I can't remember which off the top of my head, that you have to... poof away or suck up, and then you can suck on the wheel there to turn and close that pipe so that the toilet isn't overflowing, and then you can use Luigi to go into that second stall of the women's room to get that gem. I'm sorry, I went through that very quickly without explaining it. So, and then once you have that gem, you can come back over in here and use your little suction cup attack to open up this door and get the key that you need. So we're all caught up there. Now everything that happens from this point on, we are experiencing it on screen together, although of course I've already experienced it, so I'm kind of lying. I apologize. But I do appreciate the different environments that are lively. One of the things about horror games that I've always appreciated, whether they're scary or more of the creepy, you know, this is more cartoony creepy, but it can still have an effective atmosphere. Ooh. What's a good, like, Paul Blart ghost cop? I'm not coming up with anything off the top of my head. I'll try to think of something to make the title, but it's got to be more clever than that. Don't want to make it that stupid. But it is cute. He's a security guard for the shops, and he's terrified of every noise. And it's a mouse! And then he goes to hide in his office like any good security guard in a video game. But, he drops the key, and we'll be heading up there, but I do a little exploration around here. I do explore, as is my custom. So, but going back to the atmosphere thing, I forgot what I was talking about. Paul Blart just ruined everything. It's all gone downhill. Oh, that's what it was. Okay. I appreciate horror games that give you environments that look like they would have been lively and exciting and fun, and then make them seem desolate. So exploring shops is an excellent horror experience for me, because you can see where people would have sat and enjoyed themselves, had some food, did some shopping, and you can see the desolation that is left behind by whatever horror, thing is going on in media that you're experiencing. And that's something like a lot of horror games miss. They just jump straight to the misery, and there's no reason for me to be invested in the misery. I didn't see what it looked like before. Why should I care if suddenly there's blood streaks on the ground in front of this building? I didn't see what the building looked like before that happened. As we keep attacking this light up vending machine, we get a bunch of mice. And then the last one is a gem. But, there's a couple of horror games that I think it was Dead Space 2 or 3. I really loved the Dead Space series, but there was a ship that you explored and you never got to see the ship being lively and entertaining. And it doesn't ever feel like it was functional to be lively and entertaining. So when, the crap hits the fan, so to speak. Yeah, Luigi, I'm aware that's not a diamond. Aha, that one is. So when the crap hits the fan, there's no real reason for me to be invested in what happened. And I'll admit, I did not think I could use Luigi to go through these gates because of the, the X's across the grates. But apparently it doesn't matter. That was my bad for not figuring that out sooner. But like this store isn't necessarily, these aren't necessarily elaborately designed and stores that make you feel like they were functional and vibrant, but they're colorful. And having the colors muted by whatever, the lack of lighting and, the more spooky atmosphere has just as much of an effect, in my opinion anyways, as dropping blood streaks that you have no context for going through a horror game. So we're gonna beat some ghosts up. I spend a little more time in this room than I probably should. We actually got lucky and got the gem out without intending to. And then, of course, knowing me, I'm like, ooh, I have to destroy everything. There could be something else hidden. Even though the likelihood of there being 2 gems in the same room is probably non-existent. That would be... Unless there's like a mechanic where you come back later, that would be kind of poor game design. In my opinion, anyways. I feel like there might be a room in between there. That wallpaper on the right, now that I'm watching the footage, wallpaper looks like it might be loose. Maybe that's something I need to go back to. Shone my light on it. That one over on the left side too has a little darkness there. I'm not sure what that is. But my preview screen is not very big, so I might just be missing something I already know about. But yeah, I drag the suitcase around, destroy all the displays as best I can. So yeah, we got another horror game opinion. Gone Home is the best one ever. and I appreciate being able to see a world before it turns crappy. Otherwise, I don't feel invested in what happens unless there's indications that it was colorful and vibrant. In most horror games, when you get to where everything is miserable, there's no, there's not like Luigi's Mansion where the lights will come on and everything, you can get a picture for what it might have felt like beforehand. There's blood everywhere, there's monsters that you have to kill in many horror games, and nowadays you have some that are just you run away and must run really fast. And I don't mind that, but that's not really my jam either. There's a fine line between feeling constantly attacked and just not being worth my time. A lot of those games, and I don't mean to disparage Outlast, which is the one I'm thinking of that I have yet to play for a significant amount of time. I have played the beginning of it a couple times, and it's just never grabbed me. But I don't mind the feeling of helplessness, but I hate the feeling of helplessness if there is if it takes a lot of trial and error. And I know that's kind of a silly thing to ask. It's a horror game. You're supposed to feel helpless and not know what you're going to do. But it's also a game. Like, I can experience being terrified and scared and still have weapons and be able to run around and even save the game. Like, I've gotten back to the original Resident Evil because I'm hoping to play through the entire series and get up to Resident Evil 8, the villages, at least that we've made mention of throughout this playthrough once or twice. And I hate, and this is, I'm sorry to my best friend who watches these, but I hate the saving system. The saving system gives me so much anxiety because you have a limited amount of ink ribbons to save. We got a ton of coins back here. I was really expecting something terrible to happen with the coins, so I stopped. And then when I ran back in, I must have triggered something. So we got a bunch of little baby ghosts. They're so cute. And we can get a bunch of them at the same time. But like the original Resident Evil had a limited save system. You could only save as many times as the ink ribbons you got. And that's not really my thing. I can appreciate scary horror. I can appreciate a feeling of helplessness to an extent, but it's not really fun for me to just feel overpowered or underpowered and constantly on the run. And that's why the Outlast titles specifically have never grabbed me, because it constantly feels like, well, I'm just a useless person and I'm here to die a lot and there's nothing else to it. Now, I could be wrong. I'm not saying that Outlast is a bad game. Obviously, I haven't played it, but it's never really spoken to me. So it's, if, there's a million games out. I love to play games. I want to play all of them. I will never say that I will never touch Outlast, because I may very well. I have purchased both of the games. I like to support devs and buy as many games as I can. But it's just not in my top 100. So we're a ways away from me ever playing the Outlast games. I'm kind of interested in the Hello Neighbor games, which I feel like are kind of that same thing. I don't know. Again, I don't know. This is where my controller dies. Some golden, and I'm trying to turn. I can't, because I can't turn to the left. And my controller does not reconnect until all of the golden mice are gone. And there's a couple more times. I think there's once when I'm fighting the boss that the controller doesn't respond properly either, and it was a bit of an annoyance, so... I don't know where I was rambling again. Outlast was in my top 100, probably not in my top 100, although if I ever... my friend and I always have these conversations about we need to invent a day that lasts for an entire month so that we could just play games, and even if I did that, I don't know if I'd ever get to Outlast. I'm finding in my old age... Okay, I'm relatively old. I'm still in the target demographic, but I am very much on the older end of that spectrum. So I'm finding more joy in the indie titles. Now, I can always appreciate a good Nintendo title, so Luigi's Mansion, the Harvest Moon, or I'm sorry, Story of Seasons game that I did a video on, you know, Legend of Zelda. Ooh, they got sunglasses now. And stupid me is not sure how to handle that. For some reason, I didn't realize what I did to get the sunglasses away from him. So when a second one comes out with sunglasses, I get confused. Yeah, I guess going back to the original thing, context is super important to me. When it comes to horror games, I want to have a reason to be scared. And it has to hit a sweet spot for me. I don't want to be completely vulnerable. The Resident Evil saving system has not deterred me from playing the game, but it does make my experience much more stressful. And that's more of that's kind of part of balancing things, is that is taking away the save system, you know, something that is good or bad, or, I mean, at that point, you know, there weren't too many games, I believe, that you could just save at any moment, so it was a product of its time as well, and I don't mean to dump on it for that, but is taking away your ability to save, or limit your saves at the very least, a way to make horror games scarier. I think it is, but I don't know if it's worth that trade-off. That's kind of just my take on it. I don't know if it would be something I would put into my game. I just want people to have fun with my game. Now, obviously, being scared is part of the experience of a horror title, but how far do you want to go with that? If you alienate too many people with stuff like that, then you might not hit the player base you're looking for. I get very confused here. I really want to blast my flashlight at that whatever it is in the back. I don't know if it's like a drink machine or something like that. I don't know how to get there, but I try a significant amount of time and fail. And the game pops in and tells me I forgot my training, which is interesting because I don't remember him telling me how to do this. So maybe I just missed something in my goofy voices. I mean, I've been trying to read everything off relatively slowly and carefully so that those of you that are following along with me can keep up without having to be watching at all times. Although this episode is a bad example because we haven't talked about the game at all. But yeah, I get really confused because I'm like, and I forget that the escalator was turned on. I got used to it not being on, and then it turns on. And now he's like, hey, don't forget that you can aim the poltergeist. And I was like, yep, I'm aware of that one. Watch. I'm like, okay, I can turn the clubs there. That's cool. What does that mean? Do the windows hold a clue? Do the clubs on either side of the building hold a clue? Do I have to twist them so they're facing straight up? Do I have to twist them all the way right, all the way left? Like, what do I have to do here? Now, again, I don't remember being told that I could have both my Guigi and my Luigi sucking or blowing at the same time. The game tells me it told me. I'm not entirely sure that it did, but maybe I just missed it. And if I did, then I'm glad for the reminder, but it kind of makes me feel stupid. Especially if you didn't tell me, you know? Because I struggle at this for a while. Like, okay, we got him straight up. Why isn't the door unlocking? Like, what do you want me to do? Is there a vent I can jump in? Don't tell me you've already forgotten your training. Well, I don't remember being trained on this. Like, clearly spinning them did something, because the gate there was wobbling when we were spinning, but I don't know. I still don't think they actually told me. Got a little barber shop here. Fly around and grab everything like we do in every room. And it takes me a couple seconds to figure out what you need to do. I'm still trying to get used to all the different techniques. The blast of the air blast to the ground that shakes things nearby you. The plunger gun, the dark light. Using the plunger gun to open and throw things, like... There's been a couple times where those mechanics have gone unnoticed by me. Or forgotten for a little bit. And this is one of those times. So I was like, I don't see anything, what am I supposed to do? And that was the point. Now, to be fair, the game did kinda hint at this earlier with the balls of light. But it doesn't do a good job of emphasizing that, in my opinion anyways. And that might just be stupid me who didn't pick up on it again. So I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. There doesn't appear to be anything important. And it takes me a little bit to remember that we need to use the dark light to look... That we can use the dark light, excuse me, to look for traces of ghost. Yes, we can, cat of mine. You can't come on right now. I'm talking to the people. Say hi to the people. Okay, don't bite the microphone, though. Hey, there we go. I remembered the dark light is a thing, and those ghost blobs are there. And then, once I realized that, then, hey, shine the light everywhere. You sheep. There we go. And we discover our cash register. And then the rest of this video is pretty straightforward. Though it does take me a second to figure out the mini-boss that we're going to run into here in a second. And the regular boss, which isn't a bad thing, you know? Bosses should be difficult, but should be easy to... Not necessarily easy to figure out, but you shouldn't feel like you have to play a boss 5 times before you figure out how to defeat it. Unless you're playing Dark Souls. Which I love Dark Souls. I miss Dark Souls so much. But maybe I'll do a playthrough at Dark Souls. That would be fun. I still hanker for Dark Souls. I'm hoping... Part of me is hoping that the Elden Ring, I don't know if there's a "the" on it. I'm hoping that it is more of the Dark Souls type gameplay, because Sekiro didn't do it for me, but we'll see. Here's the mini-boss I was talking about. To be completely honest, a little bland boss design here. I tried to blast him before he got down the escalator, and that was actually a dumb move. Didn't know what I was supposed to do. But there's a little tiny tail on the back of him that you're supposed to grab. And this time, I run around and managed to grab him even though I wasn't on his backside. We throw him around a little bit, and now we just wait for him to spawn, and we kind of have an idea of what we're supposed to do, so this is a relatively quick fight. Although I was impatient and blasted him in the corner. We were still able to get him and destroy him. He was quite an aggressive one. Way to catch him. He'll be a big help to my research. I don't think I caught him, though. I think I slammed him into the ground and he exploded. Like, the other ghosts I've sucked up. That one I slammed into the ground and he just disappeared. And of course, I wanted to try one more time. That flashing light is over there and I have no idea how to get it. And then, screw you, person who stacked all those chairs, for making me feel like I'm not smart enough to do that. I can't even stack one chair. But we got our star key and can scare the heck out of, still don't have a good name for him. The Ghost Cop. But I'll figure something out. The video title will be clever, I promise you that. This was adorable. He tries to roll, but he's too large to do so. And apparently they have squirt guns. Who knew? So I wasn't sure if he was going to attack me through this gate. Obviously, that's the gate we've used Luigi for, so pretty good chance we have to get through that with Luigi, but wasn't really sure. I forgot by this point sunglasses mean he can't be blinded, so it takes me a minute or so to figure out that I need to get rid of his sunglasses, because I'm watching him roll and I'm like, well, he can't be blinded from the front. Maybe I can shoot him in the butt when he rolls and that'll stun him. That was my initial thought process, because again, I had forgotten about the sunglass thing. So it takes me a little bit here. Embarrassingly longer than it should have for one of the gamers. There we go. Figured it out. Boy, for being the top gamer score earner in 2020, that took you way too long to figure out, Bonkekook. But now we got it. For some reason, I wasn't able to finish sucking off his glasses there, and I took damage and thought I had gotten the glasses, but I didn't. Now that I'm watching the footage, I can see that it didn't finish letting me take the glasses. Here we go. If you're quick enough, you can usually get 4 slams in on the ghost before it breaks your grasp. And we just got one more, and now that we know what we're doing, this is a piece of cake. We have defeated the semi-competent, okay, I don't know, he didn't seem to be all that competent, security guard. I will say I'm a little disappointed in the animations for being sucked into the vacuum so far. There doesn't seem to be too much personality, other than the very first one with the bellhop, where he reaches out to grab his hat when he gets sucked in. The other two, the maid and the cop here, don't really seem to have all that much personality for when they're being sucked into the vacuum, and that's a little disappointing. I kind of enjoy the cute little moments that you can make. Just from those couple of seconds, you can make a lasting impression on the player from how the ghost reacts before they disappear. So, of course, in typical Bonkekook fashion, I run around trying to suck up everything, see if there's anything worth grabbing before we continue on our merry way. We only have about 2 minutes left here before the end of the video, so pretty quick here I'll start my outro. And I'm not sure when the other parts to this will come. I have been trying to do better at this because I'm actually renting Luigi's Mansion 3, and then I got Pokemon Snap, and I'm hoping to do some playthroughs of that and videos for that as well, but we'll see how all of this goes. I'm not entirely sure how long this game is, so trying to be good and get a lot of this footage done and move on. Garage sale went off well. We made a decent amount of money and got rid of a lot of stuff, so that was helpful. And so now we're just waiting, and if all goes well, in about 2 weeks here, the very heavy lifting on the moving will happen, and then I will be very busy, because we have a lot of painting, sanding, potentially some floor sanding and stuff to do, tearing up carpet, that kind of stuff before we can move in. So once we get approved, we'll be spending a lot of time doing that stuff, and my content will take a hit. So I'm trying to get, you probably noticed the last week or so, I've been getting a video every day at least. So we were sent back to the elevator, and instead of being asked to come back to the lab to deposit our ghost, he tells us to head down to the second floor. And this is the point I was like, well, I might as well just stop the video here. So that's where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. For part 5, I will come back here. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to let me know down below. If you don't, again, I appreciate the likes, the shares, the interactions, and the website views at legwalkthroughs.com. But if there's no questions for me, then I will see you guys in the next part.